You can also have your questions ready and you can raise your hands. In the last 15 minutes, I'll try to answer them one by one. Great. Now let me start sharing my screen. Host, can you please give me co-host access or screen share access? Great. Thank you. Give me a hint if you can see my screen. Thank you. Thanks, Eshma. Yes. Great. Humorous speech contest education session by Toastmaster Omkara Chitrala. But first, let me explain or let me tell you why am I eligible or who am I in the first place? Well, Toastmaster Tilak, the presiding officer, has given a beautiful and an elaborative explanation or introduction for me. However, why am I eligible is still pending. I'm eligible, or I think at least I am eligible, or the executive committee here thinks that I am eligible is because unfortunately I have participated in one division level international speech contests, impromptu speaking contests, humorous speech contest finalist at division or district 98, a finalist at the district level. So for those unfortunate reasons, I am selected or I am asked to give an education session here. Now, in this education session, I'm going to take you through a journey of how you can actually make your speeches humorous, how you can become a humorous speaker. Forget about becoming a speaker. First of all, how can you become a humorous person at heart and at your everyday life? So stay tuned, buckle up or pull up your socks, whatever you are doing, get ready for the ride. Well, how many of you think I'm a funny person or I'm a friendly person? Raise your hands. Okay, now I remember, I will keep in mind who those who haven't raised their hands. Thank you, everybody. See, that is a humorous speech, isn't it? I did nothing. I just asked a question. I expected a response and I cracked a joke out of it. But before that, what I did was silence. Silence is a very powerful tool, my dear friends. Let me tell you some examples by stop sharing my screen. Yeah. First and foremost thing, when somebody asks you, for example, in a corporate life, let's say in a corporate life, somebody came to me or Tilak came to me saying that Omkara, Toastmaster Omkara, I want to nominate the next VP Education or VP PR or next person for my role as a proxy. Whom do you think is a good person? Do you think Toastmaster Manoj is a good guy? And guess what? I would say nothing, but I would stay calm and I would be like, Toastmaster Manoj. Now, what would be the situation? He would be thinking that I am not confident about him, isn't it? With no simple word, not even a single sound, I can create a message, I can deliver a message, and that is the power of silence. By the way, my dear friends, I'll also tell you something important. In our meetings, in our regular meetings, we have this person or a role player called the R counter, right? And what's their role is to count our crutch words, pauses, long pauses, all these ahs, ums, and ers, right? But do you know why those occur when we give our speech? Those occur because we have this subconscious intention that we as speakers should be the most perfect person on the planet. We shouldn't be having any pauses. We shouldn't stay silent. It is the most awkward thing if we stay calm or silent on the speech on the stage. And that is a myth, my dear friends. Because you cannot stay calm, you start using these crutch words. Let me give you two examples. Example number one. Today, I'm going to give you an education session on uh, the education session on the humorous speech contest. But let me tell you, I forgot the context or I forgot what I have to say the next line, isn't it? Let me give you a second example. Today, I want to go give you an education session on. Yes, you know it. You know that I forgot, and it is on the humorous speech contest. Let me tell you, my dear friends, two things. Number one, people whom you are talking to when you're on stage are not robots. And till today, after attending so many contests, I can guarantee you something. There is no robot behind the ballot paper giving you the score. For sure, there are humans. So for humans, you look very inhuman if you are too perfect. Do you know? Even robots are being prepared in such a way their both eyes will not be equal in size just to make sure they are acceptable in the society, because no human is perfect. Similarly, if you try to be the most perfect person, if you try to be smartest person, if you try to have no flaws, you look really artificial. And sometimes it is obvious that you forget stuff. I do forget stuff. Even the most predominant speakers forget stuff. Have you ever heard this speech, I Have a Dream, by Martin Luther King? Even he gave multiple pauses. Trust me, the silence and the pause, the power that it has is immense. Let me give you one last example before I jump into my next point of the agenda. Today, I want to talk to you about something very important. And that is the power of silence. See, the silence emphasizes the importance of the next word that I'm going to speak. The moment I gave silence, I gave a pause, you were all alert, you were all trying to understand, you were all, focusing on what I'm going to speak, the next line, isn't it? So try to improve how you can speak and how you can incorporate silence in your speeches. And the next point, mind and mouth connection. This is the most interesting concept. Let me talk about this mind and mouth connection. When you are delivering a speech, you ideally, what we do is, when I am delivering a speech, I continuously remind my next line. Because the moment I complete my first line, my second line has to come into my mouth. And I will be thinking about my second line. Now, let me tell you this speech. Hey, my dear friend, today I'm going to give an education session on the humorous speech contest, and I want to include ballot and its importance in that education session. Now, if you know, I have not framed this sentence, but what I have been doing is, hey, my dear friend, I've thought and I spoke. I'm going to give, I thought and spoke, an education session on humorous speech contest. You see, there is a continuous flow, a handshake that is going on between my mind and my mouth, my mind and my mouth. I don't even need to think about the next word that I have to speak, because I am so confident about the connection that I have between my mind and the mouth, to an extent where I don't even need to think twice about my speech. Now, how can I improve my mind-mouth connection? There are two ways to do it. Number one, you participate more and more in table topics. In table topics, what actually happens? You will be given a 10 seconds of time to think about the topic that was given to you. And then for next 1 to 2 minutes, you are expected to speak on the topic. Now, in 10 seconds, how far can you think and how good can you craft a speech? It's not an easy task, but by doing it again and again and again and again and again and again, you will get to a state where you don't even need to think for a fraction of a second before you speak. The second way of doing it is already revealed to you by the first way itself. It is by practicing your speech. Now you may be asking, a Toastmaster Omkara, it is very difficult right now for me to participate in max as much table topics as possible because the contest is right around the corner. How can I practice so many table topics? I would hardly get one opportunity in a meeting. And even if I dedicate my whole day for all Toastmasters meetings, there are not many Toastmasters meetings that are happening out there. So I would hardly get 10, 15 opportunities. Now, how will I become, or how will I improve my mind-mouth connection? Well, start crafting your speech and practice it to an extent where if somebody taps and wakes you up in your sleep and asks you what is the fourth line in your speech, or what is the first punch line that you have prepared in your speech, you should not think for a second, but you should be answering that. So that is the mind and mouth connection, my dear friends. Then let's talk about the third point, that is, look for the obvious that everybody overlooks. Recently, just because of the same reasons that you heard, I was also called to a give an education session in a women's college, BVRIT Women's College, on the same education session. And I went into the college, I parked my bike in the parking, and I'm coming towards the education session hall. And I noticed that there is a temple. It's a women's college, by the way. I noticed a temple. I walked in, I went on stage, I delivered almost the same speech. And then I said this third point. For that, I was not prepared for any of the points. I actually prepared only the heading, the keynote, and then the connection or the story that I have to elaborate. I have prepared something, but it was not apt. But then I've noticed a temple. I walked into this speech or the auditorium, and I started giving my education session. And then I asked the students this question: how many of you have been studying in this college from at least past 1 year? Majority of the hands raised, majority of the hands got raised. And then I asked them, how many of you have noticed that there is a temple in your college? Everybody said yes. And shall I crack a joke on this? And everybody said yes. Everybody was expecting that I crack a joke on Hinduism and or a religion, and they are ready to get offended. But you know what I said? I actually prepared myself. I groomed myself to an extent where I wore my best shirt. I was in my best hair dye. I'm having my best costume, and I'm in this college. I noticed that there was a temple, and I was expecting a temple of Lord Krishna. But you know what I found? I found a temple of Lord Anjaneya, who is a lifetime bachelor in a women's college. Everybody cracked out. Now, did I say something, with so much of rich vocabulary? No. Did I say something scientifically unproven, or like Isaac Newton, I gave a amazing speech? No. I actually noticed something that is very obvious that everybody overlooks, but I brought something out of it, and I started building it up, building it up, building it up. At one tip, I started tripping them all with a small joke. And that is my third point. Now, once you got to know about all these three, let me also talk to you about something called the body language before I share my screen. Body language plays an immense role, my dear friends. Along with that, if you add vocal variety, it adds even more beauty to it. Let me give you the actual content from my humorous speech contest. So this speech that I have prepared, I'm going to give you one punchline from my speech, and that is, my parents were recently celebrating their 29th marriage anniversary, and I wanted to wish my father and congratulate him for his 29 years of togetherness with my mother. And then I called my father. So this is how the whole speech, the background of the speech was done. And now I'm going to get into the speech, exact speech. Hey, Dad, how congratulations for your 29 years of togetherness. By the way, how does it feel? And my father replied, hey, son, it feels like 10 minutes. And then I was surprised. I asked him, Dad, are you serious? And then he said, yes, son, it feels like 10 minutes underwater. Now, it was not funny, actually. Let me make it a little funnier. I'm not going to change anything. I'm going to add a very little subtle voice modulation to it. Hey, Dad, how's your 29 years of togetherness? And then he replied, hey, son, yes, it feels like 10 minutes. I was surprised. And I asked him, Dad, are you serious? 10 minutes? And then he replied, hey, son, yes, 10 minutes underwater. Now that is funnier. Shall I show you what is funniest? I added body language on top of it. I was wearing my spectacles like this, and I repeat the same script. Hey, Dad, how do you feel? Or how do you feel with this 29 years of togetherness? And then he replied, hey, son, it feels like 10 minutes. And then I replied, Dad, are you serious? And then he replied, hey, son, yes, it feels like 10 minutes underwater. Now, just because I have added in my voice modulation, my body language, the whole joke was taken to a next level, isn't it? If you got that point, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you. That's all we have, the 3 points. Thank you so much, timer. I'm sharing back my screen. The 3 points that I have are, let me repeat, the silence, the power of silence. Right now, in this very small example, I have also shown you the power of silence. The moment my father completed, yes, son, it feels like 10 minutes. Pause, silence. Let the people digest and intake that whole message and then crack your joke. Yes, son, it feels like 10 minutes underwater. Versus, yes, son, it feels like 10 minutes underwater. Which one do you like? The power of pauses and silence will take your speech to a next level. The mind and mouth connection. Now you could be thinking, I've been practicing this line again and again and again, right? And that is the reason why I was able to crack the joke without even a thought. And that practice improved my mind and mouth connection exclusively in this portion of the joke that I have delivered right now. Wherever I am trying to train you about something else, I would have to think, or I have to think about the grammar, I have to think about my crutches, I have to think about everything. But still, my mind mouth connection was established to such an extent that the gap between my mind and mouth, or my thought and my delivery, is minimalizing and minimalizing, and toward extent where you will not be able to recognize that. Now, looking for the obvious that everyone overlooks, I was actually expecting, or I was actually practicing myself to attend these physical meetings. And if there is a physical meeting, I was planning to come to the training with one leg in a shoe and another leg with a chappal. However, I would still have both the socks on the legs. Now, everybody would be thinking about one leg in a shoe and one leg in a sandal or in a slipper, and everybody would be talking about the same thing. But my point was, when you look at the obvious, that it is obviously visible that I am having one leg in my shoe and one more leg in my sandal, but you have to look at the obvious, that is the socks. And let me crack a joke. If you can just imagine Omkara in front of you delivering this very speech in a beautifully formally dressed manner, but wherein one leg is in a shoe and the other leg is in a chapel, everybody can say like, "Arey, Omkara came and gave an education session. Yeah, forget about him. He came in a wonderful attire that he is having one leg in a shoe and one leg in a sandal." Till now, it was a joke. But let me take it to the next level. The biggest thing is, even for chappal, he wore socks. Yeah, what a funny fellow he is. See, that obvious thing that you notice and observe that everybody overlooks is what takes your speech to the next level, right? And then the next point is the ballot. Let me actually take you through this ballot. I'm having hardly 1.5 minutes. So if you really want to write a humorous speech, do not write a humorous speech. Yes, you heard it right. If you want to write a humorous speech, do not write a humorous speech. Write an international speech, or the ISC speech, International Speech Contest speech, and sprinkle your humor on it. Let me prove that to you. If you see the judges ballot, this is the judges ballot for the humorous speech contest versus the international speech contest. Now, both of them have the same contents. Only addition that we have in the humorous speech contest is the audience response, which has a weightage of 15 points. And this 15 points were distributed to speech development 5 points, and for grammar and correctness another 5 points. And somewhere else it was also divided. Yeah, effectiveness got 5 more points here. So what they have actually done from the ballot is, they have taken the international speech contest ballot. They snatched some 5 points from speech development, 5 more points from effectiveness, 5 more points from grammar, correctness, and all. And they collected and kept 15 points for the audience response. Now, if I write a international speech contest worthy speech and sprinkle a little bit here and there jokes, my humorous speech is all set to go. Trust me. And I also can tell you some minute cheat code. You can actually use the same speech. For example, the humorous speech contest happens in the month or in the period of September, October, November, including the area contest, the division contests. Wherein the international speech contest happens in the period of January, February, March, April. which means obviously you are having 6 months of period, 6 months of time. You can improve your speech and become, either you can become a humorous speech contest, or with the same speech you can improvise it a little bit more, and you can also become an international speech contest winner also, if everything goes well. And if you are participating, if you are a winner in humorous speech contest and also you're participating in ISC, you can still go ahead with the same speech. Now you may be asking, Omkara, what if there is a judge who was already a ballot or who was a judge for my HSC and also participating in ISC? Till today, my dear friends, if I remember correctly, and if my memory is if my memory is solid, good, I never heard a rule or a rule which is based or which is a ground for protest, which states that a person cannot use the same speech again and again in different contests. I never heard it, or I never saw that. So that is a cheat code. You can work it around. So what I would suggest you is, do not worry about having a beautifully, hilariously laughing, jumping, rolling on the floor speech. No, don't try to do that. Just try to do a beautiful international speech, contest worthy speech with a proper purpose, effectiveness, and speech development, and then sprinkle humor into it. Humor is like salt, my dear friends. You can't eat it without salt. You can't eat with too much salt. It should enhance the taste in the required quantities. With that, I open the floor for question and answer session. Thank you, timer. You can reset it for next 15 minutes. So Toastmaster Tilak, do you have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, no questions. I request everyone to unmute yourself if possible. Otherwise, text your questions in chat box. Omkara Chitrala will happy to answer your questions. Yeah. Esma, your turn.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is, I know it's a stupid question, but yeah, I just want to know that I've been contesting in HSC. Unfortunately, as what Omkara says, unfortunately this year I cannot contest. So I just want to know, do we need a mentor to contest, like to be number one in HSC? Do we need a guide or someone who has been a winner before, or that guy could sometimes be your competitor? Because if he or she, contests in HSC, then there are certain points or areas where he or she might not give you points, right, and reveal all the hints and tips. So I just wanted to understand this. What is your take and what can you advise us? Because we tend to go for, champions, right? We tend to contact. But there are times where you can, this thing. So that's why I want to know.
Excellent. Very good question. In fact, even I was in a confused state because my Toastmasters journey started hardly in 2021. So it's been just 1.5 years, and I was not having a good network. I don't know whom to connect, who is a good mentor, who is a winner. Forget about the context. I don't know who is a winner in the last year. Forget about that. I don't know whom I should choose as a mentor. Forget about that. I don't even have a mentor for my HSC. I prepared my own speech. It's something like I am an engineering student, fortunately. And in engineering, what we used to do is we take past 15 years question bank and we try to find the important questions. I did the same thing. I visited Toastmasters International YouTube channel like a maniac. I've started watching all the winning speeches, all the runner-up speeches at the international level. And I noticed that all the international speeches were having a little bit of humor in them. Then I started watching all the humorous speeches. I also noticed that these people are having something that is actually a thought-provoking idea, that they are going to slap on your face without actually slapping it on your face. And that art, I started mastering it in my regular contests. But in my regular conversations also, for example, if I want to say that Tilak, there is no light on his face, or that I can't see your face properly because of the no proper lighting, I can say that's right. Or I started learning started changing my behavior towards this, saying that, Tilak, I have missed your face. I have missed watching your face. That smile is so brighter, but your face is not. Now, I can sound a racist saying that you are dark, but your teeth are bright. Or I can be sarcastic and still deliver my message with so much of love and compassion towards them, saying that, Tilak, I have been missing you, seeing your face. I want to see your face clearly. Can you please come into light? Sorry, Tilak, for taking your example. I know that you are a brother of mine. So I just took it deliberately. Now, coming to your question, should we have a mentor who is a winner earlier? Now, it's as simple as this. You're not applying for an IAS job. You don't need an IAS to mentor you. It's a humorous speech contest. As I always say, don't take Toastmasters too seriously. That burns down your life. So don't take even contests so seriously. Try to give it once in a while, participate into it. Sometimes you give your own speeches in your clubs in humorous ways. And yeah, if you ask me about mentors, I'm not the right person to answer because I never had a proper mentor. Thank you. I saw somebody, Anshum, also raised her hand earlier.
Ansham raised her hand.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
So so happy to attend this session. I'm very laughable person. I love and enjoy laughing, and I try to be funny. So what happened in Hindi, my joke, my jokes and mimicry is cool. I can see that. But in English, when it comes for transition, I that change is not bring. It can convert the dialogue, but sometimes I can't feel that in English, and so how I can make others happy? So I just do smile only.
Yes. So that's a beautiful question. Even I have come across that phase. So my mother tongue is not English. So I used to crack jokes in Telugu in my local language, and people used to literally show me the definition of roll on floor laughing. But when I joined a diversified organization, a multinational organization, there were Germans, there were a couple of other people, and my manager knows that I'm a good, joke cracking person or a funny person. And he asked me, "Hey, Omkara, why don't you crack some jokes?" And I started cracking jokes, and they were like, "Okay, so is that a joke? Should I start laughing here? Oh, okay, not here. Okay." So that was the situation. So that already happened to me. So I think I'm very much eligible to answer this question. So joke is an emotion, by the way, or laughter is an emotion. Now, joke is just a path for them to laugh. Now, let us understand the biology behind it. Okay, I am not taking much time on biology, don't worry. So the biology behind it is very simple. People laugh or show their emotions only at people who they can trust. Now, people who they think will not judge. I can't laugh at you because when I am laughing or crying, I'll be myself. When I am laughing or crying, I'll try to show some things that are actually hidden throughout the day. When I'm laughing, I show my teeth and my tongue. And people usually have their insecurities with their teeth colors, their tongue, their breath, their sounds, their eyes, their hairlines and all. So people usually do not smile and laugh or cry in front of everybody, only people whom they trust. So first thing that you have to build is trust. How? By making sure that they feel you. How? By actually telling them stories of your own self. How? By actually taking them through your journey. How? By actually creating or crafting a speech of your own life. When I actually came across the very same situation, I started cracking jokes and people were not able to understand. Then I started cracking jokes on me. And these jokes were easily understandable and digestible. And people used to laugh because they used to see my facial expressions, even if they don't understand. Let me give you one example. Right now, if I crack a joke in Telugu, you will not understand a single bit, but you will start laughing because I give my facial expressions. I use my facial expressions. And all these, an amalgamation of all these emotions, make them feel like, Are, this person is just like me. This person is so very much like me. I can be myself in front of this person. Be vulnerable to make people vulnerable in front of you. And that wins that trust. And once you win the trust, people starts crying and laughing in front of you. Don't choose the first one, choose the second one.
Of course, I enjoy laughing. I want everyone to laugh. I never thought that. I was like, why you are not smiling? I'm smiling at you. You just recently smiled. But I was like, now you made the points yeah, it can be conscious or breathe, teeth. Yeah, do brush.
Yes. There are some people who laugh a little differently. Like I have a friend who laughs like, and he used to have this insecurity and he will never laugh in front of anybody, but only in front of me. And there is a girl who laughs like, like this. And whenever I crack a joke on her, she'll be like, I laugh for this in the evening. And she'll not laugh in front of anybody. But I made her laugh in front of everybody only by, of course, I also coach people. So I tried coaching her and then she came out of. So what I want to conclude also is, don't try to make people laugh who are not ready to laugh. It's as simple as you can take a horse to the sea, but you can't make a horse drink the water. They may be enjoying your joke, but they're not ready to laugh. Don't degrade yourself. That's all.
I don't know if you are watching that Jethalal Tarak Mehta dialogue.
Yes, yes.
So I have another question. Like,
Sure.
so are you free for becoming my mentor? Direct, straightforward question.
Sure. You can take my contact from Tilak. I already have 4 mentees, but for sure I'll figure out some time. At least for this contest, I am actually trying to mentor as many people as possible. And after that, you can find a different mentor for your.
Contest is not my target. Like, I want everyone to happy and laugh.
Okay.
Why not?
Sure. It would be my pleasure.
Thank you. Yeah, next question. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Sure.
When I was listening to the Garipati Narasimha Rao garu,
Yes.
many of you don't know, he'll point out direct points where society is neglecting. He'll scold. Do
Yes.
people really enjoy their mistakes?
That depends on your authenticity. I'll tell you something. I recently started writing my own dictionary, a dictionary of sarcasm, by the way. And in that dictionary, I gave a definition for something called designation or authenticity. The definition of authenticity, or in simple, the definition of designation is a power that adds sense to nonsense. I'll tell you a simple example. Let's say I crack a joke that is the worst joke that you ever heard. Will you laugh at it? But if your manager or if your teacher or if your professor came to you, who is going to give you a appraisal or who is going to make your marking or scorings in your internals, and they crack the same worst lame joke, will you laugh for that joke? You have to. That's why I gave the definition for designation or authenticity is a power that adds sense to nonsense. So do not, as I read this quotation recently, do not compare your chapter 1 with others chapter 20. So don't try to crack jokes at people's insecurities, or don't try to crack jokes at people's fears or people's mistakes, because there are some people who are doing it though they know that it is a mistake. If you want them to enjoy, there are 3 ground rules or 3 golden rules that I always follow. Number 1, try to take a situation of wife and husband, universally acceptable topic. Number 2, women mind and women brain, usually how they jump from here and there. Suddenly all of a sudden, with my mom, I usually talk about my new company. I want to join a new company. Let's say hypothetically, I'm actually talking about my new company. I open the box called an organization or the company, but you know how her brain works. A new company means a new place. A new place means a new room. New room means he may get habituated to drinks. If he gets habituated to drinks, he will start riding his bike. If he starts riding his bike, he will obviously either get into an accident or he will make an accident, and that will be going into make expenses. So there is no point of getting into a new company. So this is how it is scientifically proven that women's brains work like a spider web and men's brain works like a organized compartments. So when we open our box, we only open that box, we peacefully open that box, we talk about it, we close it, and we safely and securely we lock it inside. But you know how women do it? Zig, 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 everything. So that is a second beautiful topic that you can crack jokes on anytime. The third thing is on your own self. And also sometimes if you cannot crack as much jokes on you when you are participating in Toastmasters, you can crack jokes on your executive committee. Of course, don't take up names because there is a possibility that people are doing it. Or let me tell you something. Actually, I let me share my screen. There is a joke that I have cracked recently on the education committee, and everybody took it positively because I'll tell you. So this is the ballot. I don't know how many of you know about this. This is a ballot which will be handed over to the judges before your speeches start. So what happens here is when you are entering the participants' names, when the judges enters the participants' names, the names starts filling in a vertical order. So O, M, K, A, R, A will be filled like O, below that M, below that K, below that A, below that R, below that A. Now, let's talk about this third point. Look for the obvious that everybody overlooks and add humor to this. I'll tell you. And executive committee, all that, I'll tell you how I can use that. Recently, I came across the ballots to understand how I should win the contest. And you know what? I tried adding them some dummy names and it started filling it like O, M, K, A, R, A. And that's when I realized why my president always speaks in a different order for anything that I ask. Or you can also say, that's how I understood the judge. That's how I understood that the judges keep at very different names during the contest. Or you can say okay, now I understood why you should be a completely different thinking person to become a judge. Or you can say something like, after only writing that, I realized that judges are the most screwed up people. It depends on how you deliver it and how you can make it. Of course, you should not address the judges in your contest. That is a ground for protest. You should not address your judges. However, if you want to try cracking jokes, you try to take an advantage of the executive committee, not as a person. Again, at the same time, please try to keep this in mind, the core ideas of Toastmasters, IRSE. Do not challenge anybody's integrity. Do not make anybody, damage somebody's respect. Make always or speak in terms of service and try to excel in your own communication and your own delivery style. I think it was an elaborative answer for your question, Tilak, but yeah, thanks for asking it. Any more questions? I see Akib, Javed have been enjoying the contest. I'm so happy that you have been switching on your camera throughout the session. Do you have any questions?
One query, what Heshma was saying, she is in the leadership team now.
Yes.
So suppose I go for a leadership next year, and I'm again a member for one of the other division altogether. So am I allowed to participate in those contests for that district or
no?
No.
TI has recently revised their rules and regulations for contests. So if a member with a unique member ID, you will be having your Toastmasters member ID, right? With that, if that member is contesting or if that member is in leadership in any districts in any regions, in fact, across Toastmasters International, will not be eligible for contests.
Got it.
Any more?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Okay.
Javed's answer. So I joined in May Toastmaster, this 22. So am I not eligible? I am elected club officer Sergeant at Arms.
Good for you. So what Javed was saying is, it's not about the club leaders. It's about the district leaders. So right now there are 7 executive core committee members who run the club, right? Similarly, 4 clubs or 5 clubs brought together and they will be guided or served by a person called area director. And 4 or 5 areas will be put together, will be served by somebody called division director. And couple of divisions put together, that is called a district. Couple of divisions put together, it's a region, and all of them put together, Toastmasters International. So anybody beyond club level leadership are considered as leaders, or of course, everybody is a leader here, but they are in the system, the leadership system as per Toastmasters International, and they were ineligible to participate because they can influence judges or they can influence the result.
So am I eligible?
Yes, you are 100%, no doubt. Yes. Thank you for the timer alert. So I think the duration that is given to me was done. If you're having if you're having any more questions, you can reach out to Tilak, get my contact number. I would love to give an education session in your call club as well. Or we can also have a one-on-one talk. I want to support as many Toastmasters as possible in this contest season, and I want to make everybody smile and laugh and enjoy their life and make this planet a beautiful place to live. This is Omkara Chitrala signing off. Thank you so much. Over to you, Tilak. In case if you are talking, you are on mute. You're talking on mute. Presiding officer lost connection, it seems. Yeah, he's back.
Am I audible, right? Actually,
yes.
power gone.
No worries.
If there is any questions, you are going to answer in WhatsApp, right? Yeah. I lost. Hello.
Yeah.
I missed that ending part. If they, as the timings are done, if there is any questions, you will answer them in WhatsApp or.
Yeah. If we have time, I do not have any other appointment. They can I'll answer them. If we do not have time, they will reach out to you. You can give them my contact and they will connect to me on personal.
Yeah. If there is any questions, please do free to ask. As Omkara Chitrala is free now, we can have a good learnings.
Hello, Omkara again.
Hi, Vallabha.
Small doubt, like you beautifully express yourself while you're explaining that joke, and like father son joke in three forms you explain it. But for me, I'm a somewhat an introvert and shy guy. I cannot express myself that beautifully like you explain. So without that, is there any possibility to crack jokes?
Why not? I crack jokes even without speaking. I'll tell you. I hope everybody is 18 plus here, right? Because recently there was a joke that happened in our teams, in our office team. And the joke was like, my team leader was announcing, or my team leader was asking that if everybody have their own mouses to use their computers. And my team leader did not get the idea of saying, he was unable to say that there is a trackpad. And instead of saying, hey, so-and-so, I think you have been using your trackpad, right? Rather than saying that, he said, you have been using your hand, right? And then I immediately said, and I said nothing else. That was a hilarious joke. Everybody laughed and everybody was like jumping out of their seats. And now people got to know. So, there are some jokes where you don't need to say anything. But when it comes to a speech, that was Manoj, right, who asked, or Vallabha, sorry. So when you are giving a speech, you should speak. And let me also talk about something. There would be a small question. You will obviously ask a small question, but from Omkara, you cannot expect a small answer. So how many of you think that I'm an introvert? No, right? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Sai Bhargav. Actually, the definition of introvert or extrovert is completely opposite what we think. We think that extrovert is a person who can actually express themselves more, better, and speak to people, right? But actually, in simple, if we talk about energies, extrovert is a person who gets energy by speaking. Introvert is a person who loses energy by speaking with strangers. That's all the differences. Now, that is scientifically proven. Now, let's take it to the advantage of people who are like introverts, you or me. So for example, I was also an introvert. Even I am an introvert these days. I cannot talk to strangers because of, thanks to COVID, I've been locked out in a room. I'm not looking at new faces. So even everybody is an introvert. Now, how you can actually take that to an advantage is very simple. Start practicing in front of a mirror. And second thing, you are not performing for somebody. You are performing for your own self. Third thing, this is the most powerful thing. Crack. Even an introvert will have at least 2 people in his immediate society. Maybe his brother or his sister or his friend or his colleague or his buddy or his roommate, whoever it could be. At least 2 people. Crack the joke on them in front of them. They would laugh. Once they laugh, you will get the joy of making people laugh. Once you get that joy of making people laugh, you will become an addict of making people laugh like me and Anshum. Trust me, that energy is so powerful, that kick is so powerful. Once you make people laugh, that smile, that glow that they have on their face, the moment next time they see you, they will always be like, they expect something from you. They want to be in your presence. They want to spend time with you. And that energy makes you an extrovert with a little bit bigger society. And next time, a little bit, for example, today I realized that Anshum is a very good, jokey person or a funny person. So next time when I'm going to her club, or if she is coming to our club, I would introduce her being a funny person. Even if she is an introvert, she will obviously try to crack a joke with me when my friends are around me. Then they will feel comfortable with her and she starts feeling comfortable with them. And they introduce her with her to different other people, and her immediate society increases. And you are still an introvert. You are still an introvert and you have a bigger circle. That's all. Now, how can this help in your contest? Once you have this bigger circle, being an introvert, ask them to sit in different corners of the contest room. That's all you need to do. Everything will set in place. Do not worry about what's going on, whom you are talking to, how many people are in the auditorium. What I will do, I'll tell you. If I'm giving a speech and if I am a little tensed, even I get tensed. I'm not a perfectionist. Even I get tensed. And what I usually do, I'll tell you. I look at the foreheads of the people in the auditorium. People think that I am looking at their eyes, but I'm not looking at their eyes because they are so scary. So I start looking at their foreheads. People think that I am maintaining their eye contact. Second way of doing it is, I try to find at least one person who is looking close to my friend. When you are an introvert, you will obviously have a smaller circle. When you're having a smaller circle, you can easily remember in your mind the facial features of your friends. Now you can at least match one person's facial features in the auditorium to your friends. Now what you have to do is think that that friend itself is in the auditorium. That's all. Look at that person, crack the joke, look at the other person's forehead, utilize the stage, again look back to your friend. You will become the best speaker of that day. I'll tell you. I can assure you on that as well. Introvert and extrovert is just the feeling that you usually carry with you, Toastmaster Vallabha. It's not actually it's actually scientifically proven, but you can actually come out of it by increasing your size of immediate society. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you. I saw somebody named Priyanka also joined, and they were,
yeah,
enjoying.
They were my juniors actually. So they were quite introvert. Like even they don't. It's like I didn't get the chance like Toastmaster in my college, so I have that regret. So like I was taking initiative like to bring college students also, and I tried to make like a college club, but it failed. But I took online club now for creating online university, the college Nitaya, and let's see where it goes. And you are my mentor for sure. And I suggested Vallabha to go on a date, like girl like me who speaks a lot. So maybe.
Yes, that's the best thing to do. But unfortunately, he's just like me, a mechanical engineer. So it's so scary for mechanical engineers.
Yeah, most of the introverts are mechanical engineers for sure.
I also saw Heshma raised her hand for a second. Heshma, do you have any more questions?
Yeah, actually, you said we are not introvert nor extroverts, right? So then I'll say we are ambiverts, if I'm not mistaken.
True. Thank you. Thanks for that correction. Even these kind of corrections, I can crack a joke but Heshma is my friend, so I don't want to crack a joke on her. But however, Tilak is my close. Tilak has called me to give a session.
No, but still, he's a great mentor. I mean, too good.
Thank you. So it's tough to have, rich vocabulary people when we are giving sessions.
Especially perfectionists like me.
Now,
you can session, Omkara. Thanks a lot for this session. Yeah, you were saying something.
No, I was actually helping others also to utilize even these kind of things. You can also say something like, if you are a participant or if you're contesting for a humorous speech, you can say, recently I have attended a education session on how to become a humorous speaker or how to improve your humorous speech. And then, you know what, he has given an amazing speech, and suddenly there is a girl who came from nowhere and started saying, Omkara, it's not extrovert, not introvert, it's ambivert. You know what? She also said, Omkara, I'm going to kill you if you crack a joke on this. These women are, you can actually build a story around it.
I remember the division. I heard it even at eloquence level. I mean, it was, you did it on your PR cluster team, and that was really.
Yes. But you need to take a consent before you crack any joke or anybody.
Exactly.
Take the screenshots of the consent. It can create a ground for protest. Be careful about it.
Okay.
Good. I'm stopping the recording right now. Tilak, is that okay?
Okay.